Tell me if you've heard this one before. Microsoft is increasing their pricing. So, on April 1st, which is not that long from now, Microsoft is increasing the pricing associated with Power BI and Teams Phone. I'm going to get into the specifics in a minute. The justification that Microsoft is giving, what I believe the motivations are, which they may not say publicly, and ultimately what customers need to do about this. Right now, the announcement came out late last year. Hopefully organizations have been planning appropriately. Many organizations have renewals coming up in June. So there is going to be an implication here if you haven't been getting ahead of this the right way. The good news is, if done correctly, you can still address it, but also potentially use what Microsoft wants to your advantage. So let's get into it. Power BI Pro, as of April 1st, is going to go up 40%. Okay, so the list price is going to go up 40%. That's 40. It's going to go from $10 to $14 per user per month. Power BI Premium is also getting hit with an increase. Surprise, surprise. Maybe not 40%, but 20%, right? 20. It's going from $20 to $24. Now, if you think about those two specific products, there's going to definitely be some implications there, which I'll get to, but let's not skip over Teams Phone. So Teams Phone, pretty healthy increase here too. Teams Phone Standard is going to go up 25%. Okay, 25%, $8 to $10. Teams Phone Standard for frontline workers, another 25% price increase for that portfolio, that persona as well. It's pretty hefty increases. Okay, so again, if you haven't been planning for this, buckle up. When you think about Power BI, this is a big one for them for many reasons. One, it's a competitive space, right? You got Salesforce, Tableau as a perfect example. Salesforce and Microsoft definitely haven't been playing nice lately, especially when Benioff makes comments about Copilot being like Clippy. Last time they reported during the earnings call, they have 30 million Power BI customers. I think it's about 300 or 350,000 organizations are using Power BI. So there's a massive revenue spike that could come from this, not just on a customer basis, but just generally. And the market's going to want to see that, right? That's been put out there. Power BI has been around since 2015, or Power BI Pro rather, since 2015. As part of the justification, they definitely leaned on this. They talked about the fact that it's been around. It's the first price increase since it's been introduced. So Power BI Pro introduced 2015. This is the first price increase roughly 10 years later. They talk about all these enhancements, all this additional value, 1,500 updates, I think, over the last 6 years alone. Teams Phone, similarly, they talked about all the increased value that's coming with that. But really, this is what it comes down to. It comes down to two things, really. The first, perhaps the most obvious and important if you're paying attention, is they need to get more customers moved to Microsoft 365 E5 or Office 365 E5, right? They need to get to 5. Now, they continually try to push this. This is a new way to try to potentially motivate that, because if you think about it, Power BI Pro and Teams Phone are part of those suites. So it's part of the Microsoft 365 E5 suite. So if you increase dramatically the list price, which means what you're used to paying if you got those discounting is going to get even crazier relative to the increase in the cost profile. They're going to try to use that to tighten the gap between your E3 subscription and E5 price, right? That's the oldest tactic in the book. They did that back in the day when they increased Microsoft 365 E3 by 12% to do that as well, try to help motivate it. For me, I look at this as, and I think it's all delicate how you handle the conversation, a little desperate, right? The market should see that way too. If there really was value in the Microsoft 365 E5 offering, why do you need to have price increase tactics for component parts as one of the things you're doing to drive adoption? Again, they're not going to say that's the reason. They talk about the value receipt, so forth and so on. But let's just all be honest. There's also another key thing that's really important is fabric, right? Customers out there, I'm sure you've been inundated with this. This is an area where, if you think about it, Satya is spending a lot of time. It's the data and it's the analytical component of that offering, tethering it together. Well, with fabric, capacity reservation, right? It requires an underlying Power BI Pro subscription, right? So there's a game here that could be played. Hey, look, customer, I would like you to consider my fabric. Your Power BI Pro subscription is going up 40%. And for some of you who had a 20% additional discount, that makes the uplift even greater. Well, maybe we can make that go away. We can tighten that up if you're interested in fabric, right? There's something to think about here. That's definitely happening, and it will continue to happen. The E5 part, obviously Power BI Pro and Teams, it's a combo. They're going to be aggressively, and they already are pushing this. So customers, what can you do? Number one, get deep with your granular assessment of value, right? This is the same thing I've been saying ad nauseum. They want to put, the price is going up 40%, the price is going up 20%, because there's all this added value. Do your granular assessment. Are you using any of those updates? How much of the product are you actually using? How much value are you getting out of Power BI? Truthfully, put that report in front of Microsoft when they then hit you with a 40% price increase and tell them, really, this is what you want to do? The other thing I would be doing is thinking about, if possible, and you have time, if you're a Salesforce customer as well, many of you are, they definitely would like to get some Tableau adoption. They would be very interested in having a conversation. Microsoft knows that. So if you can create a potential evaluation that's real, that could be very helpful for customers. The other thing is this: if they want to play these tactical approaches, it's more reason why you have to continue to try to elevate your conversations within Microsoft. Product side and sales side, executive to executive, right? You have to call this out, tell them, hey, you better not do this if you want me to go co-pilot. You better not do this if you want me to make a bigger Azure commitment, so forth and so on. So again, increases are coming. Hopefully you've been planning. If you haven't, there's still time. Use this opportunity effectively, and it can overall be a good thing for you and your company.